I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. Put my money where my mouth is, I'ma get it now, kid. Heard around town, this sound is astounding. Feel my heart pounding, bass is surrounding. Think I finally found it, so I'm gonna mount it. Like an ex-girlfriend, I'ma get it back. Make a couple racks as I make a couple tracks. Stay on the attack as I'm writing every rap. In a snapback, black off this coke and this jack. Man, I feel good, dog, I feel good. Woke up a little richer, also with a little wood. If I could teach this shit, man, really wish I could. So listen up closely, I'll give you a push. I raise hell every time my lyrics pop off. I take shots at the haters with a sawed off. Girl, you better keep me up or I'll nod off. One shot, all I got, I will not stop. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. Yeah, it's not enough, man, I want more. I keep on doing business, open every single door. I wanna be the richest, so you see me up on Forbes. I can do this through my music, that's how I even the score. I don't take it slow, man, I want it bad. Every single day, I'll be carving out a path. Like a girl with a tat on her back, all black. I'ma take her right back to my pad where it's at. I don't ever slack off, so you better back off. I'm about to blast off faster than NASA. Everybody stand up, put your fucking hands up. That's the demand, yup. Welcome to the brand, bruh. No, I'm not cautious, I take risks. And no, you can't stop this, I'm too slick. She knows that she wants it, so come quick, baby, know that I'm on it. I don't quit. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. So hard to find, it's the real damn thing. Don't be wasting any time, I got somewhere to be. Always on the grind, yeah, you know me. Hold the crown will be mine, you can call me king. A matter of time for you all love me. Finally at my prime, right where I wanna be. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I'm one of a kind, there ain't no one like me. I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Stroke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I can if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Let's go ahead and turn on the cameras here. Let's get this show started. Woohoo! I had a busy day, very tired day. I had a crazy event last night here that woke me up at 3:30 in the morning. Out of all the time that you can wake me up, why 3:30 in the morning? Well, long story short, I was asleep, having nice, beautiful dreams. Next thing you know, my fire alarm started going off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is my fire alarm going off? It's actually my smoke detectors were going off. I'm like, smoke detectors going off. So I went and I checked everything. I'm like, there's no smoke anywhere. So I resetted the smoke alarms and I went back to sleep. And no more than about 15 minutes later, the fucking alarm went off again. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I had to go take down the damn the smoke detector, and to find out that the battery was pretty much dead. And I had to pull it down and take the battery off and just leave it to the side until I get a 9-volt battery to put in there and throw it back up on there. And I wasn't going to do that today because I ended up sleeping throughout the day because I was rudely awakened last night and I couldn't sleep. And that sucks. Have that ever happened to you? In the middle of the night, your fucking smoke detector goes off like it's crazy. And the thing is that all my smoke detectors are connected together. So if one goes off, all of them go off. And it was not a good night last night. It was very stressful. But I was able to get it down and take the fucking battery off of it. And yep, that was my night last night. And the reason why I'm here late is because I was running some errands and ran a little late. But I'm here and we're going to catch up on some news for us to watch. So let's go ahead and set this up real fast. Hey, what's up, Albie? What's up, Terry? How you guys doing? Let's jump right. Yeah, shit happens for real. I thought it was a fire, right? So I'm like anticipating. Holy shit, this is going down, right? Because the smoke detectors are going off, so that means there must be smoke or something, right? Nope. I was like, I look around. I'm like trying to see what the fuck is the smoke. If there's no smoke, why the alarm is going off? So that after the second time that I put it up and it went off again, I was like, that's it. I'm taking that bitch down. So thank God I had a ladder. Went up there, took that bitch down, took the battery out, and that was the end of the story with that. And ever since then, it's been the other two alarms are pretty quiet. So it's that third alarm, smoke detector that went off and caused a little chaos. For tonight, we're gonna do like this candlelight. We're gonna light up a big candle for this season, holiday season, for the Christmas season. It's right here. If you guys haven't noticed, because it's blending in. It's a huge motherfucking candle that I have here. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. So we got this big ass. Look how my face compared to this candle. So the color of this holiday season is red. and it's one of my favorite colors. It's actually is my favorite color, red. And we're gonna light this up now. So, and this is gonna be for the 25 season here. It should run us to January, I hope. Smells good. And we're gonna light this up now. So I've been anticipating and lighting this. I moved a couple of things around. As you can see, my crystal ball's on this side now. And our candle, we got to dedicate the candle to something, right? It's for the 25 season, the Christmas season. And hopefully we have more peace. I don't think so, but I hope we get more peace. I hope there's a way that people can be more peaceful to each other, and not only to each other, but to themselves, because you got to take care of yourself first before anyone else. And that's a fact. And with that said, I'm turning on the candle. Yay! So uneventful, but so beautiful. I love candles, as you can see. I'm lit here. I'm always lit every single night, no matter what. I always turn on all my candles, and we may run a competition, a little count, a candle count competition at the end of the year, and let's see who gets it right. And maybe I'll give away something if you guys can figure out how many candles I have lit. That would be fun. And let's go right to the news, because we got a lot of important things to watch. So let's not stall. Let's get to it.
On the Epstein files, does the new investigation by the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney prevent the department from releasing all of the remaining files?
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law
tonight. Nice.
And to have maximum transparency. Also, we will always encourage all victims to come forward.
President Trump says that he relied on his tariff policies to make all of this happen. In October, tariffs brought in $33 billion. That's a 316% increase from October of 2024.
In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been
in the hospital. What happened now?
These last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS
having a problem with her breathing again?
Has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. But the Bureau's job is not done. I'm committed to this transparency. Mr. Chairman, you alluded to our work with Congress. To date, in the 7 months that I've been FBI director, we have produced 33,000 pages to the United States Congress, 33,000 pages. Just to put that in perspective, my predecessor in his 7-year term issued 13,000 pages to Congress. And his predecessor in his 4-year term issued 3,000 pages to Congress.
Wow.
I've issued 33,000 pages in 7 months, and we're going to keep going.
Cellular analysis systems are the best in the world, and that's what the FBI does, and that's what we flew in and did. That's how we led the manhunt and got him in 33 short hours.
And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
Once again, my name is Art Del Cueto. I am Vice President with the National Border Patrol Council. And I want everybody to take the time to understand what's going on. We are all affected by this shutdown. We have skin in the game.
I don't trust this guy.
It comes down to border security. And we're extremely grateful to President Trump.
That's good.
And we fully support what he is doing to take care of our nation's borders, to take care of the future of this United States. It has nothing to do with political parties. You all got to ask yourself this question. If I come to your home, do you want me to knock on the front door, or do you want me to climb through that window? We fully support the president and all his efforts to secure our nation's borders.
Yeah, Jerika, actually just in the past few minutes, we just got the release from the House Oversight Committee of 33,000 pages of documents related to the to the Epstein files. These were released by the DOJ.
Damn, 33,000
and
pages?
The Oversight Committee
Well,
has their hands on them,
for?
and they are combing through, as will our gracious team of reporters back in our Washington bureau, combing through all of these documents to see what they say.
It wasn't just Trump returning to work today. Congress also returned from their summer break, and their first move was to vote to release the so-called Epstein files.
I think we follow the truth where it leads. I think that's the responsibility of Congress. I think we owe that to the victims. And if there are further prosecutions, then they need to be brought. No stone unturned.
In total, 33,000 pages of files were released by Congress, many of which were already public.
People want these files released. I mean, look, it's not the biggest issue in the country. It's taxes, jobs, the economy. Those are always the big issues. But you really can't solve any of that if this place is corrupt.
Congressional lawmakers are also working on legislation to force more information to be made public. Of course, Fox 17 News has been tracking the push for additional information to be released in the Epstein case for months now.
There may not be much of a holiday weekend for many people at the Justice Department. Presumably, they are furiously going through the Epstein files.
We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says she will comply with the law, including the new one passed just last week, requiring her department to release all it has on Jeffrey Epstein, the late financier accused of trafficking women and abusing girls. Epstein had plenty of high-profile friends, including former President Clinton and at one time President Trump, who said he cut off Epstein years ago.
I think we are going to get a lot.
Legal experts expect to see quite a bit.
My hope and my expectation is that the Justice Department will err on the side of transparency.
Yeah, it's all distraction, Terry. You know
everyone
that.
wants to see.
And what so
this
many
is all
want to
bullshit.
see is whether other big names are implicated in Epstein's misdeeds.
This is obviously sensitive stuff.
But lawyers caution there will be redactions.
I don't know if we're going to see a smoking gun. There's going to be a lot for amateur sleuths to poke through about flight logs and whatever else. But we will eventually see this report.
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files.
There has already been political fallout, including the big split between one-time allies, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, and President Trump, who initially had fought the release before backing it. Those pushing for more disclosures plan to follow this through.
Anyone who's involved in any kind of cover-up is going to be subject to criminal prosecution.
And because there can be redactions to these documents to protect either victims or ongoing investigations, this may come to a larger debate over what's not released next month.
Thank you, President. We really appreciate all the support that you've given the Border Patrol. We appreciate the support that you've given ICE. My name is Brandon Jett. I'm the president of the National Border Patrol Council. I've been a Border Patrol agent for 21 years. I can personally tell you from the work that I have done on the southwest border that physical barriers, that walls actually work. You hear a lot of talk from the expert that there are experts that say that walls don't work. I promise you that if you interview Border Patrol agents, they will tell you that walls work. I worked in Naco, Arizona for 10 years. We didn't have physical barriers in Naco, and illegal immigration and drug smuggling was absolutely out of control. We built those walls, those physical barriers, and illegal immigration dropped exponentially. Anywhere that you look where we have built walls, they have worked. They have been an absolute necessity for Border Patrol agents in securing the border. We need those physical barriers, and we appreciate President Trump and all of his efforts in getting us those physical barriers. There's also a lot of talk on this shutdown that federal employees do not agree with the shutdown. I will tell you that's not true. And with that, I'd like to introduce Art Del Cueto. He is the vice president of the National Border Patrol Council. He's also a longtime Border Patrol agent out of the Tucson sector, and he'd like to say a few words about the shutdown.
He seems very odd.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
We'll jump away for a moment, continue to monitor that, but the president making an appearance, a rare one at that, in the briefing room. Yeah, his first one. He said, congratulating Nancy Pelosi on being elected Speaker of the House of Representatives once again. Said they hopefully will work together, mentioned infrastructure, among other things that Democrats and the president could work on. He also, as you see now, which carries on, comments from members of ICE and the Border Patrol who are commenting about the southern border. This government shutdown now in its 13th day. The president holding strong there, continuing to advocate his position for the border wall, saying he has tremendous support for it. John Harwood standing by. John, it's pretty clear by bringing these folks up, the president's trying to humanize this issue, if you will, from people who are down on the border trying to protect it.
He is trying to do that. Unfortunately for him so far, the president has not gotten significant public support for a wall. Majorities have consistently told pollsters that they oppose building a wall. The Republican-controlled Congress over the last 2 years did not pass money for a border wall. The president did some prototypes, and there was money for refurbishing existing fences, but they haven't produced any money for a new border wall, and it is even less likely that that happens under a House of Representatives controlled by Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, good upload, Jason A. Just weird times we're living in right now. Like this month, I'm looking forward to the 19th, where Three Eye Atlas makes its closest approach to Earth. I hope it doesn't come towards this way, but if it comes this way or throws some kind of probes this way, the world will take a shit all at once, and our source system is going to clog up for sure, because everyone's going to shit at the same time, and because they're going to be so scared, and maybe that'll bring more peace to people if we had like an event that scared the shit out of everyone. Maybe that'll stop people from stealing, stop people from committing crimes, killing one another. Maybe that will stop if we had a Jesus moment on this planet. That's what I think this planet needs. And let's go ahead and watch this next episode here. This is going to be Liberal Hive Mind. So let's go right to it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, would you look at that? Once again, it's less all roads lead to Rome, and more like all taxpayer fraud leads straight to the DNC's freaking headquarters. This has to be the least surprising update of this whole Minnesota Somali fraud case. I wonder why Tim Walz and others were so hellbent at blocking investigations of what was going on here. Yeah, probably because the entire thing seems to be a Democrat money laundering scheme, or at least in some ways it seems like money is coming back in terms of campaign contributions. It's funny because Democrats are always acting so holier than thou, yet they seem to be implicated in everything. So yeah, this massive fraud case in Minnesota is now being connected to Keith Ellison. That's of course the Democrat AG in the state. Let me show you guys what's going on or what's being said here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, so here's the backstory. We've got this quote, Feeding Our Future Foundation scandal, supposedly a child nutrition program to feed the kids during COVID. But now as we're looking back, it turned out to be one of the biggest welfare frauds in U.S. history.
Somalian pirates robbed us for $1 billion.
According to a new bombshell report from the New York Times, Somalian migrants in Minnesota have defrauded nearly $1 billion in taxpayer-funded benefits under Democrat Governor Walz's leadership.
This was the biggest COVID scam in American history.
A nonprofit and its affiliates with these Somali migrants claim to have fed tens of thousands of American children during the pandemic. They were reimbursed for those meals by taxpayers. However, federal prosecutors found that almost all of those meals were never even delivered to hungry children. In fact, those organizations' leaders spent the money on houses, luxury cars, and real estate in Turkey and Kenya.
Somalis were stealing your money right under Tim Walz's nose. And this didn't come out of the blue. There were red flags and whistleblowers. But the Somalis played the race card. They said they'd sue and go to the press if the funds didn't come through. This was right after the Floyd riots. Walz didn't want the racial heat. Minnesota Democrats also didn't want to tick off one of their most powerful voting blocs. We've been importing thousands of Somalians into Minnesota for decades, and they've been feasting on Minnesota's welfare programs. Now they're political heavyweights. So when government whistleblowers told Walz what was happening, he tried shutting them up, they say. Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats,
Wow.
repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports.
How the
So
hell
Walz
is
had a
this guy
COVID
still
snitch
governor?
line, but when someone snitched on the Somalis, he hung up the phone.
$250 million stolen.
This is
That's
hard-
this
this
one
is-
program alone. And keep in mind, this fraud was pretty much
And the
systemic
problem is
across
no
multiple
one is
different
being held
programs.
accountable.
And now the report
No
is that
one's going to
apparently
jail.
those implicated
No
in
one
these
is
fraud
being
schemes were actually
investigated.
politically
Like,
connected and
investigations
possibly
are going so
funding the
slow.
campaigns of these high-profile Democrats. In this case, Keith
It's
Ellison.
like-
Recently released audio recordings reveal conversations that happened between the Attorney General and individuals who were later implicated and in some cases convicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. In those recordings, the Attorney General was asked in those recordings to use his authority to protect businesses under investigation for wrongdoing, and rather than distance himself or remain neutral to allow the legal process to unfold, he responded in those recordings, "Of course, I'm here to help." The Attorney General in those recordings even urged the individuals, "Let's go fight these people." He was offered campaign contributions during that meeting, contributions that he later accepted. The release of those audio recordings raises questions about what's going on in the Attorney General's office that go directly to the need to pass the legislation that we had previously debated, House File 20.
Minneapolis, New York City.
Although he has insisted that nothing came of the
Francisco,
meeting, his
like,
office
Point of order,
blocks
man.
disclosure of closed
Just
investigative
point of
data.
order.
Masons 124. The A11 will help ensure that what happens behind closed doors in the Attorney General's office sees the light of day. We can protect people's privacy while shining a light on what the Attorney General's office is doing, who is influencing that office, whether it's those under a criminal investigation, nonprofits, corporations, or billionaires with political agendas, because Minnesotans have a right to know when their Attorney General's office is working with them. Minnesotans have a right to know whether the Attorney General is telling the truth, that nothing came of that meeting. That's why the A11 is so important.
So there's now accusations floating around that these taxpayer fraudsters are somehow connected to these politicians and maybe even bankrolling the campaigns. And, you know, it really makes you wonder, has me thinking about how all those Democrats took all that FTX fraud money from Sam Bankman-Fried, and so many of them refused to give back the donations. But I think beyond that, it's kind of painting a picture of systemic Democrat taxpayer fraud. You know, after everything we learned this year, especially following the Doge audits, it feels like scams like these are basically the Democrat MO. This is what they do. They build these elaborate scam systems, create these massive, giant, compassionate programs, or in many cases, compassion industries, like with homelessness and immigration and everything else, or as they say it, the refugee crisis, the asylum crisis. During COVID, it was COVID relief, right, and child nutrition. Or looking at Minnesota, you've got autism services. Just build some sort of initiative, some sort of massive program, open the federal dollar floodgates. It's the useless pork and such in the bills that we're constantly referencing, funding X through Z, every random initiative you could imagine, in many cases to the tune of millions upon millions of dollars. If you don't give the Democrats all their little wishful spending programs, they'll invent some sort of constitutional crisis to try to force your hand anyway. And look at what you're funding. You're funding fraud rackets, billions of dollars going into these fake philanthropical husks. There's nothing there. And I guess we know where the money's going. It's going to warlords in Africa. It's going to Al-Shabaab and terrorist organizations. And likely a good chunk of it is going right back into the Democrat machine. It's going to their campaigns. It's going to their Act Blue donations. It's coming in as donations under random social security numbers. You got Democrats out of freaking nowhere pulling $2 billion out of their asses to run Kamala Harris. Where'd the money even come from? You've got Democrats running national level kabuki theater constantly, whether it's Antifa riots or hashtag no kings or the January 6th theater. They got money coming out the wazoo. They spent over $300 million on the no kings demonstrations. And it seems as though in some way it's all connected. These taxpayer schemes, these USAID NGO funding schemes, at this point, after decades upon decades, it's an entire expansive web of thousands of NGOs. Who knows where the money's going? Who knows how much is getting lost in the webs and simply making it right back to the Democrat election coffers? And it seems like in Minnesota, that might be exactly what happened. Somehow, these top Democrats are connected. Maybe that's why Ilhan Omar is throwing such a freaking hissy fit in her defense. Maybe that's why Tim Walz has gone silent, gone freaking MIA, and is totally refusing to cooperate after it's been alleged that he supposedly stifled an internal investigation on this issue. You know, I wonder why that that is why Keith Ellison was so buddy-buddy and so connected with two of the biggest fraudsters in American history when it comes to corruption, when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse, when it comes to embezzlement, theft, and waste of the taxpayer dollar. I gotta tell you, nobody does it like the Democrats. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Let's go to a back-to-back liberal hive mind.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. Yeah, it's pretty much always the same stages. You know, there's stages of grief and then there's stages of woke. There's a predictive behavioral pattern here. Let's call it the woke script. The far left is on the defense. And so, of course, they immediately pivot to all their same talking points. It starts with more racism and then devolves to some of their dumber talking points. And this is one of the dumbest woke lies. In comes the leftist racial drama. You can't kick illegal Somalians out of the nation. You can't close the door to Somali immigration because apparently Somalis, quote, built this nation. Oh, man. Yeah, we're reaching late stage woke here. Later stages, that's for sure. These people are getting desperate. Let me show you guys exactly what they're saying and why it's complete nonsense. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's first start off with this Pramila Jayapal clip. You know, if Pramila Jayapal is involved, you're about to hear something real high IQ.
The majority of Americans across the country, regardless of political party, know that immigrants from all over the world, Somalia, India, wherever they're from, Latin America, Africa, that immigrants have built this country and make this country what it is today.
Quote, this country was built by Somalis, Indians, Latinos, and Africans. What a complete, absolute, and utter farce that is. And this line, of course, it gets rolled out over and over and over again. It's the left's favorite line in their endless attacks against Western civilization. The goal is always to diminish Western civilization, to strip it away as the real origins of American greatness, and rather replace it with this new woke rewriting of history, this retconning of American history into some vapid, emotionally satisfying, historically false story where everything good is automatically credited to the, quote, minority, and everything bad, ooh, the evil white man, the boogeyman, the left's favorite cop-out for everything. They want so badly to tear it all down, to completely erase and frankly eradicate Western history and American history. Their entire narrative is built around this idea that America was built on the backs of slaves, built by immigrants, as if from day one, the country was simply a plantation under a flag and everything prosperous, it was stolen off their ancestors' backs. The notion is laughable, and this was built by Europeans. They want so badly to diminish European greatness, to completely redefine or utterly destroy Western traditions. And the first step of that is, of course, discrediting the entire premise. But you can't let them do it, folks. That's why fighting CRT and the 1619 Project was so important back then.
CRT cartoons are laying the groundwork for reparations. That's it. You get a whole generation of Black American children thinking Lincoln was evil. America is racist. Slaves built the whole country, and we owe everybody waving their family tree around to a lawyer $2 million a head. Now, with someone who's 0.1% Black, I might be entitled to a check, but I'm going to put my own financial interests aside and preemptively decline reparations. I know it takes a strong person to do that, but it's not that easy for everybody.
Because this rewriting of history was exactly what they were trying to teach your kids. To strip away all the nuance, all the context, all the facts, the perspective that should be applied to a proper understanding of history. They wanted to strip it all away and just hammer this one message that America is evil. White people were the oppressors and they built everything on the backs of your Black friend in 2025. It's all a bunch of nonsense. It's gibberish. And it's yet again another grievance narrative used on the unsuspecting masses to divide and conquer. And clinging on to these narratives of victimhood, to these historic grievance narratives, it does not serve you, especially when it twists your mind into thinking that everything good about Western civilization is something that should be demonized, that it's the enemy, the root of of all evil, because the exact opposite is true. Slaves didn't, quote, build America. Neither did immigrants. No, what built America was the original European settlers who established a certain economic framework and paradigm, certain moral foundations that allowed the groundwork for a strong, prosperous, and decent nation, the constitutional framework, the common law tradition, the property rights, the work ethic, the cohesive religious and philosophical worldview that believed in ordered liberty. That was the bedrock. That's what created the environment that not only built America, but that also freed the slaves. And whether you want to admit it or not, because, I don't know, you have some sort of personal insecurity issue, you simply have to put your personal emotions aside and accept that that is American history, that is European history, that's Western history, and it should be properly attributed, not stolen for your woke fantasy whims of the hour. The European settlers didn't build America with their ideas and their culture and tradition. No, it was the Bangladeshis in New York City. Give me a frickin' break. These woke frickin' platitudes, these idiotic panders, they're so utterly dishonest and completely detached from reality. And of course, they're used as emotional weapons to set this precedent that if you deny it, well, oh, you just must be a racist who hates people from Somalia. You know, that's obviously what Ilhan Omar is doing here.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen as a fabric, has seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. So not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
The exact same kind of shtick. Somalis have, quote, always been seen as the fabric of this nation. Really? What is this ridiculous rewriting of history? Do I really need to say it? Is it not plainly obvious? No. Somalis have not always been at the core of America's cultural fabric. Somalis just recently entered American history. They're a very recent, very small percentage of the population. But now to imply that somehow they're part of the country's founding, that they built the nation and are a core component of American culture and society, it's pure fantasy. It's pure leftist platitude. And it makes it even more insulting when you're saying this, talking about being, beneficial to America, when the facts are coming out showing the exact opposite. This particular community being a huge net burden on taxpayers. The left's response, of course, always when dealing with these cases is never to grapple with reality. It's never to meet us on realistic terms. No, it's to double down on the idiotic slogans. But we built this country, therefore you can't ever have an opinion that makes me feel even the slightest of negative feeling. As per usual, the purpose is always the same: to shut you up, to guilt trip you into silence, to imply that the mere asking of the question is somehow a moral crime, a line that should never be crossed. But that simply isn't the case, and the claim itself is stupid, and it's frankly insulting to imply that Western civilization was built on your back and that we're supposedly the bad guy because we have an issue with widespread systemic fraud. Give me a break. What a bunch of laughable claims. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, let's keep moving.
She introduced the Meals Act, the 2020 Meals Act, loosened oversight, enabled more than $250 million of fraudulent payouts, yet she says no idea of any wrongdoing.
I just hope there's a text chain, emails, some evidence linking Walz and her to knowledge, because you never, legally speaking, if they knew that something was happening, you've got to prove it. If they can say, I didn't know about it, and you can't prove it, they can get away with that. But even more than the legal aspect of this, I think about the voters in Minnesota. You've got to look at this and say, enough is enough already. But, Brian, I'll kick it to you because you're from Minnesota. I wonder how these kinds of leaders have gotten in their positions in the first place. I don't think your voter base is going to kick them out of office, which is just, it's atrocious. It's shocking to me, but the voter has power here. And if they do nothing about it, then it's on them.
Well, it's that voter power thing. Yeah, like around Minneapolis and St. Paul and the suburbs, I don't know. They always go for these guys. Mm-hmm. They go for Walz, and Omar's a smaller district that's voting for her, but it is voter power. And what's interesting, and I don't know where this is going to go, but one thing you should know is in Minnesota, people have been documenting all of this and digging into this far longer than we've been talking about it at the national level. And there's some really good work there. Omar, just to name one guy. So there's a guy named Guhad Hashi Saeed who was convicted in August of running a fake food site called Advanced Youth Athletic Development. Okay, whatever that was, definitely didn't serve food. But that guy worked for Omar in 2018 and 2020 as a campaign enforcer. So he made sure that folks in the Somali community in Minneapolis voted for her. Okay, that's the kind of people she consorted with. So what I would say is it's wintertime. There's ice in the lakes in Minnesota. It's very thin right now. When you get out on a thin ice, you might fall in. I think Omar's on very, very thin ice right now. And the more people dig into this, the more they're going to find she was not. This isn't just because programs were set up quickly.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. She knows the people who knew exactly how to crack.
But let's say that they were set up quickly.
They were, but that's not the problem. That's the main problem.
But the spending stats are clear. I don't need an email to know that it went from one number to exponentially another number every single year, compounding over and over again.
Yeah.
And we had somebody on the other night that was a Republican state senator, and he wanted to put the blame on everybody else. And I would say, your blame's on you too. We argued with people and we told them what was happening. This is where a whistleblower has to come in and say, here are the stats, here are the numbers. I don't need any proof. The math is the math.
I think people get frustrated because I can't figure out the why. Sure, this person, all these people, Democrats in Minnesota, you included, Brian, hate capitalism, right? And so they just want to perpetuate fraud because they're not good stewards of money. There's no shareholder. You would vote, the taxpayer is the shareholder, but if the taxpayers are voting, they're not good stewards of money and they don't care. But what is the why? Just to perpetuate so that we can all be poor
Financial
and then go
illiteracy.
to socialism? But why? What is the argument against being a good steward of money?
I don't see
The
it
lack
that
of
way.
knowledge of how to do it.
I don't see it that way at all. I see them as thieves.
Yeah, it's
and
thievery.
it's just straight out. I want to line my pockets and I want to go down the socialism route and take it away from you because, again, I want this elite. I want to be part of this elite dominating class that controls things. And Ilhan Omar brought all of these people, or allowed for, let me say, created a situation that allowed for them to swarm into Minnesota. And she is all about, you're one of me. I want you to thrive. Whether
and so
that
I don't care about tax. I don't care about fraud.
But can I tell you what?
Yes.
So like the voters, all these suburbs around the cities, these people who are not Somali in that community and voted for this stuff. One, they didn't know a ton about it. But two, when they found out about it, do you know what Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar and anybody who they might have asked about it would have said? You're a racist.
Yep.
You're a racist because you're blaming this on Somalis. And in 2020, 2021, and 2022, Minnesota, the home of the whole George Floyd debacle, that had a lot of currency.
Exactly.
So that's one of the reasons it's taken so long for this to come out.
If you are accountable for taxpayer money, if you demand accountability, you're a bigot and a racist, according to these people. So let's reverse that. They're saying that embracing thievery, fomenting it, and recklessness is noble. No, it's not. And the American people are not idiots. This ends, they get into this job, they run for office because it's a grift. It's a grift for all the people. It is a con for all the people who got them elected and enriched them.
And the risk of taking it away is the risk of losing your seat.
So it's gone. This is a reckoning for all of these lying liberal grifters.
Wow.
We've hit $38 trillion in debt. You don't get any more money. No more crying hard times. And like the more that these media outlets, the regime media, write about the poor Somali community.
State comptrollers.
They came into this country. We brought them into this country, and these individuals stole from us.
The truth.
All of them who were behind this will rue the day. All of them.
And make no mistake, also, there was some reporting recently about Ilhan Omar's own net worth. I mean, it's not like she hasn't been enriched in certain ways as well.
Done
I'm
quite
not
well for
necessarily
herself.
saying from the fraudulence, but that position of power hasn't been, let's say, it's been very lucrative for her.
Sure has.
You can't even marry your first cousin where I come from.
Damn. What a way to end that segment. That was funny. Let's keep it moving. What the fuck? Holy shit. Tires. Oh my god. Look at this. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my god. Those tires could kill someone. Let me tell you, if you're driving at that high rate of speed and it comes through your windshield, that can kill you. The police. Fucking tires. Who's this?
Where you live at?
Living?
Yeah.
To Dallas.
You live in Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How long you been living in Dallas? Now, is that where you're going?
Yeah, going.
Where do you live at? Where do you live?
From Indiana.
Indiana? You live in Indiana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Huh?
Yesterday.
Okay.
You don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's saying where you live. He's like Indiana yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I'm living yesterday.
Where do you live? Where's your home residence?
Live?
Yeah.
I'm from New York.
New York? Oh,
Yeah, New York.
How long you been living in New York?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah. 2 more.
Okay. You've been living in New York for 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you move from?
Moved from?
Yeah.
What?
Then when you moved to New York?
I'm Jacksonville.
Damn, that guy cannot speak a lick of English and did not understand what the hell the police officer was saying. That's crazy. Let's keep it moving. That's wild.
I can set you free.
Julie, welcome back to the program. So we have a name now. Jacob Cole, an anarchist. I'm sorry, Brian Cole, correction. Brian Cole, an anarchist from Virginia, found because of existing evidence inside of the FBI, no doubt phone records, that have somehow become uncorrupted magically. But this is now the identity of the alleged pipe bomber. The floor is yours. Nobody knows more about this. Does this official story pass the smell test? What would be the reason or the rationale for anybody in the FBI to overlook such evidence? I can't wait to hear what's actually happening here, Julie.
Right. So, Benny, I've been on your show, I don't know how many times over the past 4 years, talking about all of the developments in the pipe bomb scandal, pipe bomb stunt, really, that it was, and other matters related to January 6th. So it does appear, though, that the FBI has a suspect who was arrested this morning in Virginia. His name is being reported as Brian Cole. There is some speculation and reporting from other corporate news sources that this individual is tied to Antifa. We will find out more. 1 o'clock is the press conference with DOJ, FBI. So we will learn more details and hopefully see the indictment. So for people who are unclear about who the suspect is, this is the individual seen with the hoodie on, with gloves, carrying the backpack. There he is. Not a she, a he. There he is. Allegedly, this individual walking around Capitol Hill between 7:30 and 8:30 the night of January 5th,
more clothes underneath,
and allegedly planting
maybe he's
those devices outside the headquarters of both the RNC and DNC,
yeah, you see,
which are just
5'7".
blocks
That's what I
away
was saying the other day.
from the U.S. Capitol.
He was a short guy.
Individual we
the
believe
max
that
was
the
like
FBI
5'9".
has been we know has been investigating.
He's only 5'7".
Arrested early this morning in Virginia.
So that leaves a lot of unanswered questions, frankly.
Yes, it does.
For me. And
Mm-hmm.
one of your last appearances on this program, you were talking about the suspiciousness of the discovery of these pipe bombs, if you can even call them that, and how these devices were discovered, one, at the just perfect time in order to draw away resources from the Capitol, but then two, how mysterious the backgrounds of the people who discovered them, the reactions to Secret Service officers, so many questions left unanswered on that day. Let's start there on the actual day itself, the physical evidence that we know, Julie. And then I'd like to extrapolate to the greater FBI and why this sudden aha moment. But if we could start there on the day, what physical evidence would you need to see to get locked into this story and say, you know what? Yes, this is beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now it suddenly makes sense. Me, the preeminent reporter who has blown so many holes in the official narrative, I now agree with this timeline. What would you need to see? Loose ends would you see tightened up?
So, Benny, to your point, and I still stand by this. Now, I'm willing to be open-minded, which is not like me, but I will be in this instance. As you and I have talked about, and I think a lot of evidence points to, there are very suspicious surroundings related to the discovery of that device at 12:40, the device right near the RNC headquarters. The discovery of that device by a woman who was doing her laundry that day, decided to do it at noon and then go back at 12:40, where she said she found this device that now we have been told, and the FBI, including this FBI, has been saying for years was planted the night before. The 12:40 discovery is important because the joint session of Congress began at 1 o'clock. Just a few blocks away at the U.S. Capitol. So what happened there, and I know you had Chief Sund on, he probably talked about this, the diversion of resources, law enforcement, personnel, police, away from the Capitol to the RNC to try to figure out if this device was legit or not. Now, it's very important also to underscore, these devices were not viable. We have FBI analysis that was conducted at Quantico actually early on that said, while it looked viable, and we had FBI officials telling us for years, not this FBI, the old FBI, that it was viable. However, they were not. So this woman also, and I've got a lot of reporting on her at my Substack Declassified with Julie Kelly. She's tied to law enforcement. She was working for FirstNet, which is this private public partnership to provide broadband during crises or disasters. So she has law enforcement ties, which always was kind of suspicious to me. Fast forward then to the discovery of the DNC device, where what we've talked about, allegedly sitting there for 17 hours, missed by at least 2 bomb sniffing canine units, missed by police officers from Capitol Police, DC Metro Police, Secret Service, because Kamala Harris arrived at the DNC headquarters at about 11:25 a.m. on January 6th, all having missed this device sitting under a bush between 2 benches in front of the DNC headquarters, right next to the garage where all these police vehicles and Kamala Harris had been driving there. So I'm waiting to see what the details are of this suspect's involvement. If there are ties to him and perhaps others who either found the device at the RNC or the Capitol police officer who found it about 1:05 p.m. on January 6th. There will still be a lot of questions, I think, even after the press conference and the charging documents are released. However, this goes a long way, as you know, in debunking other stories and theories as to who that person was on video January 5th, 2021.
Does it even stand? I mean, so you can say that this individual perhaps, and this is the first time I'm hearing of this, and we've been live for the last 2 hours. So is there Antifa ties? I mean, you did mention that in your first answer. Is that just alleged at this point that there is far left wing ties?
It has been alleged by one corporate news outlet. I think it might have been ABC or NBC, and they had the scoops early this morning.
Okay.
One of those, it might have been Fusion Ken, actually, that this individual had what he called anti-fascist. So they report it that way, anti-fascist ties, so meaning Antifa. So Benny, again, this will raise a lot of questions and could potentially answer more questions as to why Chris Wray's FBI and Joe Biden's DOJ, although this was a hot investigation early on after January 6th, a lot of resources devoted to investigating the pipe bomb, releasing that video of this hoodie suspect, interviewing neighbors, trying to track down the purchase of those shoes that you showed, the backpack. I mean, this was a pretty intense investigation for the first few months. Then all of a sudden, everyone dropped it. And it was a cold case when Cash and Dan went in, made this a priority, devoted a lot more resources, some new agents, some new eyes on this case, some more updated technologies and availabilities to try to pinpoint the suspect, which apparently they did.
Any lead on what this lingering evidence was inside of the FBI that led to the apprehension? So according to our read on this, there was a pre-existing evidence from 2021 and 2022 investigations that they just had to, like, I guess, as the story goes, open the drawer at the FBI and just find, right? And that's been happening a lot recently. Any idea what that was?
I don't yet. I've heard, some details about what that might have involved, but I think they really, Benny, had to go back and start from scratch in a lot of ways because this was such a cold case. And I can only assume, to your point, that evidence had been hidden, evidence had been tampered with, evidence maybe even destroyed. We know, ironically, the organization that informed the FBI that the cell phone data from January 5th had been corrupted. Remember that there was no cell phone data in that area available for January 5th. The entity that told the FBI was FirstNet. So I guess we're still supposed to believe that this was just a coincidence between FirstNet saying that there's no cell phone data, which, if that's true, that's a huge problem because they provide broadband to first responders in emergencies, crises, etc.
Right. Like, you're not very good at your job. Yeah.
Exactly. But also that this woman who decided to do her laundry at noon and then went back and all of a sudden found the pipe bomb right by this dumpster, that she also worked for FirstNet. Now, this woman, Carlin Younger, and she's done a bunch of interviews, so it's not, verboten to say her name. She told the FBI on January 8th and on January 11th, 2021, that the device was not there at noon when she went to start her laundry, that it had to have been planted between noon and 12:40 when she allegedly discovered it, because she did not see it on her first trip to this little communal laundry room that she accesses from her building. So again, I'm very curious to see who this individual is. And then we'll just have to do more digging and rely on more information from the FBI and law enforcement about potential ties to the discovery at the RNC and DNC, still having to believe, defying all logic, common sense, other evidence, that both of these devices sat there undetected for 17 hours and just eureka were discovered right when the joint session of Congress was set to begin at 1 o'clock.
Not really hard to see them there, Julie.
That's why she said it was not there at noon. That's why she said that.
Wow.
I mean, it's not small.
I mean, it's like pretty obvious. And so was the other one. You can see it with the naked eye. It's not like they were hidden.
Right.
And it's not like these were the only people that were walking around. They're like shiny metallic devices. There they are. Clear as day, literally sitting out in the open, like doing zero
and the weird
job
shit,
to
they didn't explode.
Obscure any of these devices.
Well, here's why we'll touch a little bit, and I'm sure we'll talk about this again. The Blaze story about this individual being a Capitol Police officer, among other reasons, never made any sense, because if you're a Capitol Police officer, you understand that there's security cameras everywhere. And even if you are wearing a hoodie and a mask and covering everything up, you've got cell phone. I'm hearing also reports that this individual had more than one cell phone. You know that you're being recorded. And this person was in no hurry, right? appeared to not be aware that there were cameras everywhere, that this individual was walking around.
Very sloppy.
Not for 5 minutes, for 45 minutes.
Yes.
In some instances, retracing his steps. So that was another odd angle as to the reports by the Blaze that allegedly
She's gonna run
identified
it
this
to
individual
WrestleMania.
as a female Capitol police officer. So again, and Benny, if this individual is tied to Antifa, it explains why this has been buried for so long. Because think of what was happening in early 2021. The whole insurrection narrative was being developed that Donald Trump incited people to storm the Capitol. He was being impeached over it. This was the only thing that the media was covering. And part of this narrative was that a MAGA person, set these devices outside the RNC and DNC the night before to either blow up the buildings or to launch what they described as this terror attack on January 6th. Had anyone else been arrested, March, April 2021, especially someone with, say, social media footprint about Antifa or ties to Antifa, the entire January 6th narrative would have disintegrated right then and there, as our friend Darren Beatty, and I miss him today. I wish he could talk today. I wish he could be somewhere. But as he has always said, once the pipe bomb matter unravels, all of January 6th unravels. And if this person is a leftist or a Democrat or even tied to any of those organizations or that party, this explains why they did nothing with this for 3.5 years after they opened the investigation.
Just 2 quick points on this, Julie, very, very quickly here. One, we know that there are BLM and Antifa activists that were charged on January 6th with criminal activities.
Mm-hmm.
One of them got 7 years in prison. One of them got 4 years in prison. One of them got 3 years in prison. There were multiple BLM associated Antifa leftists that wore MAGA apparel, LARPed as MAGA to infiltrate the crowd and to commit crimes, to smear the MAGA movement. That is a matter of demonstrable fact. Here's one of the felony charges. Maybe you went to some of these trials. So the left using this as an opportunity to try and cripple MAGA and to throw egg on the face, that's already something that's happened. And so if this was in line with that, two, something that you've talked about quite extensively on this program is Thomas Crooks. We're now finding out that Thomas Crooks was like a dyed, in the wool, like left winger, Trump hater, transgender, furry, curious, like deeply disturbed leftist. And they kept that from us, Julie. That would have made, and I guess it's hard to relitigate history, but if we had found that out right after Trump was shot, that a leftist was trying to kill Trump, not just some sad young man who lived with his parent, but a leftist, like an actual somebody who hated Trump, it would have framed the election totally differently. It would have changed everything. In the 2024 election, I think Trump could have won 40
We're
states.
lucky that he didn't get shot and killed.
And
he got shot, but he wasn't killed.
They had that information. They kept it from us. In fact, the FBI went and lied and said, actually, he's a right winger. And so they gave only a half truth about Thomas Crooks. So I guess I'm starting to see that pattern play here potentially, like that same pattern where they're covering up something for political expediency that they know would destroy the narrative.
Right. Well, this would have been the biggest narrative destroying event, torpedo the entire J6 narrative had this individual, if reports are accurate, tied to Antifa. Think of what we would have been spared over the past 4 years.
Of course.
Instead of allowing this FBI, the Chris Wray FBI, Biden DOJ, to use the events of January 6th to launch this war of terror against American citizens, rounding up almost 1,600 of them before the president thankfully won the election. So, but look, Benny, aside from, and you just showed the indictment of John Sullivan, and he was not trying to hide himself. He was on video. He was recording a lot of things that were going on. He was inciting some of the things. I believe he was right. They're not far away when Ashley Babbitt was killed by Michael Byrd. But also, since then, we know, and we have seen, posted this, DC undercover police officers who are arriving at the Capitol on the early afternoon of January 6th And you can see people who are on Capitol grounds telling DC Metro, there's Antifa over there. We can see there's video on Capitol grounds of these little guys in black bloc, with their masks and all black and backpack running around, scurrying around Capitol Hill. And you hear one police officer respond and say, that's why we're here, to get Antifa. So, but we've seen none of those intelligence products. Chris Wray right away said that there was no evidence Antifa was there. He said that early on before there was any way he could even determine that. So again, this is just part of what we've already pieced together with video, with documents about the discovery of the devices, but also now who actually allegedly planted them the night before.
I guess we'll start to actually see it all unravel.
No, we'll find
this
out.
is going to be a massive day for Cash and Dan, and a huge proving ground. And if they are able to bring this and then get it to stick,
It has
and
to
able
stick.
to
That's the
uncover
problem,
the broader network of what happened here,
They haven't been getting successful with their
huge. This will be a huge win.
These
In
Democrat
conclusion
judges
here, Julie,
are not
what would you
helpful.
like to see happen next? I mean, what threads need to be tied up with Nancy Pelosi on that day? Where would you like to see Loudermilk go next? I know that he's directly involved. I mean, he spoke to Stephen. He said he called Stephen's son right away when this happened. So Loudermilk's clearly pushing for all of this. What would be your advice to the new J6 committee? Amazing that they spent $20 million on the last J6 committee and didn't come up with any of this information. Isn't that remarkable, Julie?
Right. At least 20 million. I think it is, recall that when that 840-page report was released by the J6 committee, they mentioned the pipe bombs 5 times. I mean, there should have been an entire chapter devoted to the pipe bomb story, the pipe bomb mystery. The J6 committee didn't even interview Stephen D'Antuono, who is the DC head of the Washington, DC FBI field office, who led the investigation into the pipe bombs. They didn't even interview him. Kamala Harris never talks about her brush with death, her near brush with death
I know,
that
right?
day. And
We
in
never
her
talked
book that
about
was
it.
recently released, she mentions the pipe bomb incident one time in 2 sentences. That's it. So
Wow.
none of that adds up either. So
It
my
was a
recommendation-
leftist.
It was probably
Sorry to
set
interrupt
up.
you, because it was a leftist.
It was a leftist apparently the night before, but I still have questions and I will still this is what I will keep pushing. And I will keep pushing Chairman Loudermilk on this as well and the FBI.
Please.
Is there a connection between this individual, the individuals who discovered it, the Capitol Police officer, and then the woman tied to FirstNet, Carlin Younger? Maybe there are no ties, but maybe these devices were planted. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they're just catching the person who was on video. There's no part of that lengthy video that shows this hoodie individual actually planting anything by the RNC. He walks by a court near that area, but there's no video of this person setting it down. So there's still, I caution everyone, including myself, also to be open-minded, but this is not a crime that has been solved even with this person in custody right now. There are still going to have to be a lot of threads pulled, as you said, tying them together, and then also exposing why the Chris Wray FBI memory hold this whole thing, buried it from the American people, once again to protect Democrats and try to sabotage Donald Trump and his movement.
I know that we have to go here, but I just can't. There's one thing I just can't, because the last time Darren Beatty was on our program, he talked us through for 30 straight minutes how the DNC security camera footage had been intentionally doctored and downgraded. And he gave us like demonstrable evidence that somebody was manipulating the actual footage of the pipe bomber that they were showing to the public. Like who the F was doing that? What were they like? And who has the power to do this exactly? And why? And can we please get an explanation for this?
Right.
Because the year is 2021. This is not what security footage looks like. This is not what these cameras. Somebody is intentionally degrading the footage. Is this an actor? Is this an actor? Is this actually even happening? Is it all like Kabuki Theater?
Well, I'm hoping we get some answers on that
Yes,
too, because
yes.
Karen Beatty did, and he was the one who
Oh,
discovered
no, what
that
happened?
years ago. That this security camera outside the DNC, that footage had been intentionally manipulated, slowed down. So, and even the footage in other locations, Benny, very sketchy, which also raised questions as to how they could do this gate analysis at the Blaze using any of that FBI security footage, because it is so choppy. It's choppy everywhere. So hopefully we'll get some answers about that too. But Benny, I love you. I have to run.
Thank
You
you.
are the greatest.
We love you, Julie.
I will be back on soon, I'm sure.
Bye, Julie Kelly.
100%
You're
sure.
the best. Follow Julie.
You are.
All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next episode of Benny Johnson.
What's up, guys? Benny, you knew that this day would come, and now all institutions are pushing back against Candace Owens, Turning Point USA, all of the staff of the Charlie Kirk Show, Erica Kirk with rumors of a lawsuit, and Tim Pool. It's getting ugly out there. Let's cover it. Ladies and gentlemen, Candace Owens sort of breaking the internet with this one 2 days ago, seen by 15 million people, saying that she has now all of the evidence to prove that the leadership of Turning Point USA were involved and betrayed Charlie Kirk to the tune of his murder. I'm making a personal plea to every well-meaning person who donated to this godforsaken organization to request a refund, she says. I mean, it's quite an allegation there. So please provide the evidence. Provide the evidence, says Turning Point USA. Here's Charlie's team. Charlie's team now challenging Candace Owens to bring the receipts on a live feed, saying we're going to do a live feed at 2 p.m. local time in Phoenix, 4 p.m. Eastern on Monday, December 15th. Charlie's friends will be there, and they'll respond to every single statement or claim made by Candace Owens with their own receipts to prove, well, their side of the story. So where's Candace going to be? She's invited to be live streaming live. She said she would be there live. She said she accepts completely, and, well, lock in. I think this would be a positive thing. And then she backed out, kind of. She said she can't make it work in person, so she'll be happy to join digitally any day. Again, I still hope that it happens. Tim Pool responded to that viral post saying that she now has all the evidence she needs by saying this: I've received information this morning to put the final pieces together. I can now say with full confidence that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by Candace Owens, some of the very people who claim to be his friend. Yes, I'll be naming names. And I'll be making a personal plea to every well-meaning person who donated this organization to say thank you. You were lied to, and Candace knew. So this is Tim Pool saying, prove the counterfactual. It's very easy to go out and make these claims if you don't have the evidence. And if you don't have the evidence, then you can go and get a lot of clicks and get a lot of people seeing what you're doing. You could have the #1 podcast. But if you never have to actually present your evidence, then what you're doing is rage bait. And so this is the point that Tim has been making about Candace. Now, they got in a little bit of a spat here where Candace said that Tim accused.
That's crazy. What happened was that?
We've taken $0 from investors. I've never used a bot. Never spent a single dollar on advertising. After my highly publicized firing, we made a conscious decision to come back truly solo. We may actually take it as a major compliment that people think otherwise. Tim Pool saying, we never said you use bots. It's a fake post. We were talking about how Twitch having bot problems and how people boost their shows. I've consistently explained that your show is appealing to larger audiences and women as it is dramatic and emotional. Candace Owens responding, hey, Tim, you might not be aware of this, but the amount of time you're dedicating to me reacting to my show is coming across as emotional and dramatic. Well, that kicked something off. That is for sure. Because in light of the Turning Point USA pushback on Candace, Tim Pool is now, again, going extremely hard in the paint and went scorched earth on Tim Casa IRL last night. In the sociopath influencer world, there's no amount of money that will never be worth it. That's Candace Owens' world. publishing texts, out of context posts, attempting to eviscerate Charlie's legacy seems to be worth every single penny to Candace. So Tim Pool is getting plaudits for this, responding to Candace, going directly at Candace. And then last night's show dropped. She is a effing scumbag, and it's getting worse every single day. We're going to lose the midterms because of Candace Owens and her army of
I
influencers
love
who
that
wanna burn
all this
TV
is
to the
happening
ground
like right in
divide
front of
and
my
break up the
eyes.
MAGA coalition. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is
Tell
Tim
you,
Pool.
this
If
third
the
eye mask,
Republicans
ever since I
lose
got it,
in the midterms, I believe
everything
that
has just
Candace
been
Owens
happening.
is wholly responsible. She is one of the biggest podcasts on the right doing everything to go to war with the organization that helped get Trump elected. Turning Point specifically was going out and registering people to vote. Without Charlie, it's in trouble. Turning Point needs to be able to go out and rally young people and register them to vote. And she's doing everything she can to destroy that. And that is going to, I suppose, it's going to rip out the coffers on the right. There is no organization like Turning Point that exists anywhere else that has the resources and the reach. And without Charlie, I'm not sure that they can make it. But I can tell you this, Candace lighting a Molotov and throwing it through the window is not helping. And it's the most demoralizing thing ever. Additionally, all of the cowards on the right who are too scared to say anything about her because she tweets at me talking or whatever, and then a bunch of people come and flood our chat. I could give a single flying You can come and you can burn everything I have to the ground, and I will happily live in a van down by the river. I don't care to be number one. I don't need to be number one. What I care about is what is true and what will help this country and what works. And she is a scumbag. Okay. And she's getting worse every day. And she crossed the line.
I had my opinion about
continually crosses
Candace a
the line
long time
every
ago.
day,
So
insinuating that Turning Point literally
Yeah.
killed the guy who
But
made them all rich.
I'm not gonna
And I have to,
disrespect
and I
her
hear
neither.
this in the streets, and it's at a certain point,
But
I'm
I've
like,
had my
holy
opinions on
we're gonna lose the
on
midterms.
Candace.
We're gonna lose the midterms. Then we're gonna lose in 2028, and it's because she's a piece of shit.
Tim then goes into sort of an evidentiary outlay of how Candace Owens has become more unhinged, in his opinion. Here you go.
What is the purpose of intentionally fanning the flames for 3 endless months of just nonstop retard Candace? Holy crap. You know, initially in the beginning, she brought up some interesting things. New photos had emerged, and I said, wow, something's. Well, I even said this to Andrew Colvin at Turning Point at the beginning of October. Now she's at the point where it is video after video where she's saying it's an inside job. She's saying like there's a video of the dude, Mikey McCoy, grabbing his phone and making a phone call, and she's acting like that's weird. And then you get this other guy who's claiming that the business is a parking lot. Well, he full well knows businesses can be registered anywhere. To be fair, it's not only just Candace and saying what she's saying. It is all of these people who are like piranhas ripping the right to shreds. And you know what? A lot of cowards on the right being unwilling to say anything about it.
And then I think Tim does a really good job here saying that Democrats are going to exploit the division. And this is just a matter of fact. Democrats are political animals.
Everyone's looking for the
and they'll
truth.
see the weaknesses here, and they'll use it as an opportunity. I think this, quite frankly, about a lot of people that are tearing at the MAGA or America First agenda, that it is an opportunity, either an op by the left or an opportunity simply to destroy the winning coalition in this country that won 7 swing states and the popular vote. Here we go.
But what I think is likely to start occurring now is the grifter right is cannibalizing itself. You are going to see the right now move from a populist base more to a neocon base. Democrats are going to go to war internally over the far left, and you'll see the emergence now of these deciding to win types, which, like Stephen A. Smith, will start agreeing with people like me and Joe Rogan. And they're going to try and win back the ground, and they're going to utilize the absurdity, psycho-reality of Candace Owens to rip people from the right so that Democrats can start winning again. And that is the reality the right has to contend with. Conservatives had a coalition. Charlie helped build it. Disaffected liberals came on board. People like Candace are intentionally burning it to the ground. Stephen A. Smith is coming out. Bill Maher, even now coming out more reasonably. The Democrats are going to reemerge. Those that sold their souls for woke and to COVID are going to lose out, and they're going to retire. The AOC types, you're going to see her desperately try to moderate, but we're going to see in these swing districts, they're going to try. Now, that being said, hyperpolarization, as I've already described, may affect New York and Los Angeles and Chicago, so we will see it. Maybe it all just gets ripped apart anyway, and you end up with 15 different factions all fighting for power in the federal government.
Tim getting some praise, certainly here online for this. Tim Pool's right about Candace Owens. She's not helping the country. She's damaging the right. Her behavior is helping Democrats. She just postured in front of millions. She's responding to Turning Point announcing, saying you could pick the time, pick the place, her exact words. But the moment they actually picked a place and time, suddenly it doesn't work.
Something about Turning
Point. She
Point. I
didn't
don't
actually mean it. It's performative.
There's some opportunistics in there.
Calls out conservative influencers as cowards for not speaking up.
I just feel the
against her
energy.
efforts
That's all.
to derail the midterm. Tim Pool nails it. Candace and her fandus have done more to fracture and demoralize the conservative movement than anything. She explains exactly how it's unfolding, and it's shocking how people refuse to see it. Tim Pool rips Candace Owens. There's no organization like Turning Point without Charlie. I'm not sure that they can make it. I can tell you this, Candace lighting a Molotov cocktail and throwing it through the window is not helping. Insinuating that Turning Point literally killed the guy who made them all rich. I hear that this. I hear this in the streets at a certain point. It's like, we're going to lose the midterms. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen?
Just weird shit.
I don't like it. Here's my take. It's pretty simple. It's the take that I've had.
Distractions.
Which goes like this. We have a right to know what happened with Epstein, Thomas Crooks, the J6 pipe bomber, Charlie Kirk. I'm not happy with the transparency on any of those topics. I am frustrated, as I know a lot of the people involved. I don't work at the FBI. I don't have a badge. I don't have a gun. I do have guns, but what I mean is I'm not a federal investigator. I can't make these things just magically appear. However, the infighting, whether it's over Israel and Ukraine or Candace or Fuentes, the infighting, backstabbing, only serves the left. And at scale will destroy the MAGA movement. And so I try, at my level-headed best, to not be a part of it or to pray for bridges to be built. Like, I hope that Candace does the live podcast. I hope she does it, whether in person or not. But I hope she does it.
That'd be
I
interesting.
want to win more than I want to lose, and this is how we lose. And so I'm sick of all of these side quests. The enemy is not only at the gates, but inside of the village, inside of the castle walls, and it's time for us to be smart.
Yeah, so it's like, listen, I've had my opinions on Candace for a while, long while. I've had to let people know, that I'll listen to her, but don't mean I have to agree with her. Sometimes she projects this energy of very toxic, negative energy. And she thinks she's always right and always in control, in a sense, like a little narcissistic, and she'll claim, no, it's not narcissism, it's not that, it's not that, I'm always right, it's okay. But there's a difference of doing the work and being obsessed over your work, and with her, I guess it's like the delivery, because she always wants to get the, I gotcha, and me, I'm just looking for the fucking truth. I don't care from whoever mouth it comes from. As long as it sticks and it's the truth, that's what we need. But what we truly need in this country is accountability. And that's what's very lacking in America. The lack of accountability is what's destroying the United States. Having a nice smoke tonight. It's Friday night and I'm feeling right. It is Friday and it's the start of the weekend. This weekend I'm laying low. I'm not doing much. I really want to relax. Last night I did not get a good night's sleep because of the fucking smoke detector. Motherfucker. It's like, imagine 3:30 in the morning, the fucking all the smoke detectors go off. What's the first thing that comes into your motherfucking mind? There's a motherfucking fire somewhere. You know, there's a fire. If the smoke detectors are going off by themselves at 3:30 in the morning, you know, I'm fucking panicking. I'm like, what the fuck? What's on fucking fire? So I'm checking everything and I'm like, there's no fire. There's no smoke. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I reset the system, you know, and then I'm like, all right, maybe a false alarm. I'm going back to sleep. That sleep did not last no more than about 15 minutes. And the motherfucking alarm went off again. And I was like about to like fall back to sleep again, like into a deep sleep. Cause I was like really tired. So I was like, I'll fall asleep real quick. So I was already like in that going to knockout mode. Next thing you know, the fucking alarm's like going off. And I'm like, motherfucker. So I go in the other fucking room. I'm like, fuck this shit. I got up on the ladder. I got the ladder. There's a ladder. I went up there and pulled the shit down and I unplugged it and I took the battery out of it and killed the smoke detector. And sure enough, it was the battery that was low. But fuck, at 3:30 in the morning, what a perfect time to wake me up with a fucking jolt to smoke detectors going off, and all of them are going off. So you're telling me because you have a low motherfucking battery, you're gonna fucking wake up everybody with your fucking friends, your smoke detector friends? Because there's 3 of them that are connected in my apartment. So like one goes off, all of them go off. It was so fucking annoying, man. I didn't sleep too well, you know. After the second time, I was really pissed. I went up there, I grabbed that bitch. I was like, I used to work maintenance, so I know what to fucking do. So I grabbed that bitch and I was like, I unplugged it, took the thing off, and took the battery out. And I was like, I'm going to motherfucking sleep. There ain't no fucking smoke. There ain't no motherfucking fire. You know, if there was smoke, if there was a fire, then I'd be like, holy shit, you know, then that's another motherfucking issue right there. But no, it's just a fucking the battery was motherfucking dead. I mean, usually when batteries fucking go dead, it'll go beep. You know, you get beep, not mine. My motherfucking this is to go all of them are fucking sounding like there's a fucking fire and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and the funny thing about it is last night I was recording my sleep because I record my sleep every night and I got it on camera. Yeah, not once, but twice. So it is on camera. That is funny. Yeah, I record myself sleep because I've been having that issue with my head where I'm having this jolts in my brain and it's waking me out of sleep. So I'm trying to capture it and capture the time it happens and let the doctors, you know, have like show them all the videos of when it's happening stuff, you know, that gets documented on my side. And the good thing I'm able to do it with my system. So, but last night I recorded it and I know I have it. So that's just fucking headache. What a headache at 3:30 in the motherfucking morning. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's see what we got. Where are we? All right, we got. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything on here. If anything has come out, just give me a moment. I'm sure we have something else to watch, and we do. Give me a sec, and let me set everything up. And then we have a total of 3 more videos to watch. So we're going to get right to that. And give me a second so I can set it up. Set it up. Always gotta set it up. Just make it nice and big.
Yes. But I guess my point is, you
1 second. Let's pull this back. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. YouTube's so fucking crazy. It's like, I don't like the new upload, the updates that are happening. I don't know if you've been noticing in your systems. Like, there's been like updates going on, and they're trying to like tweak like the windows and shit. And I feel like they're fucking shit up. It's just, that's why I feel like they feel like messing up my system, and it seems like they're doing too much manipulating, and I'm not liking it. Let's see, give me 1 sec. Okay, let's go ahead and move this over here, and Train of Truth is here. And let's watch this episode of Jason A.
Yes. But I guess my point is, you saw it as that.
Yes, yes, of course. There's a spiritual war and there's a physical war. And the physical war could be, that's the unofficial.
Being a bit,
that's the unofficial version. The spiritual, if you win the spiritual war,
maybe she's fucking tired.
The physical war.
Fucking nurse is tired.
I think our
She's like, let me pick on this lady over here.
Impressive victory was because we won the spiritual war very, very fast.
Well, that leads me,
because you didn't have competition. I mean, they were satanic. I think they made it easier.
In your inaugural, and I was listening on headphones for the translation, so I just want to check this. You said, we have achieved this great victory and made this a safe country, and that's the predicate for everything that follows. And the next thing we're going to do in this term is to work on the economy and make it better.
Grow the economy, yeah.
And you said, correct me if I'm wrong, you said I have a 3-point plan, and I'm thinking, I wonder what that is. I don't know. Start a Federal Reserve Bank, and you said the first point of my plan is seek God's wisdom.
Yes.
That is what you said.
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Why would that be the first point of an economic plan?
What would it be? What should be the first part of the plan?
Well, I think it should be.
Yeah.
But I can't.
And most people would think that, right?
I've never heard any leader of any country say that.
Because they probably forgot to represent the people that elect them, yeah. It's like you ask most of the people that elect the politicians, they say, yeah, that's fine, yeah, I believe that. But then you ask the politician, and he will say, no, that's not. So who is
I know, right?
Pandering to?
I agree, Terry.
I mean,
I've dealt with
right?
my bullshit nurses before.
It's a common sense thing to seek God's wisdom.
I know what Kayla is.
It's a prerequisite for wise decision making.
Yes, exactly. So that's the first part of our plan.
No, it makes me laugh. Do you think that that's one of the reasons that your successes, which are just measurable, I'm not saying this for ideological reasons, but just a fact that you've transformed the country in a good way and that you're literally the most popular elected leader in the world, again, not speculation, provable fact, you'd think that would be greeted in the hemisphere as this amazing thing, like what's going on in El Salvador? And instead, there's been this, what's going on in El Salvador?
Yeah.
There's been hostility.
Yes.
Do you think that's why?
I'm not sure, but one of the reasons is that we don't pander to them. So probably they don't like that. It's probably a reason. It's like
Y ahora que nos vieron hacer un milagro, que la verdad hay que darle la gloria a Dios. Porque ¿qué somos nosotros? Si no herramientas todos, herramientas de Dios. Dios quiso sanar nuestro país y lo sanó. A través de un pueblo unido que decidió dejar el pasado atrás y decidió tomar las riendas de su propio destino.
That's how the people like him. He
Ya veo
puts
los
God before government.
titulares. Bukele menciona a Dios y el país debe ser laico. Es que hasta eso nos quieren imponer, que seamos ateos. Nosotros respetamos a todas las religiones, respetamos a los ateos, a los agnósticos, los respetamos y somos sus amigos, pero déjennos creer en Dios.
The Muslims believe in God. You know?
Y déjenos darle la gloria si así lo queremos. ¿En qué les molesta? ¿En qué les afecta? Tal vez les afecta el ejemplo, porque tal vez las poblaciones de sus países a las que les han metido el ateísmo empiecen también o vuelvan a creer en Dios. Ustedes han visto, gracias a Dios y gracias a este pueblo noble y unido, cómo El Salvador pasó de ser el más inseguro al más seguro. Ahora, en estos próximos 5 años, esperen a ver lo que vamos a hacer. Porque seguiremos haciendo lo imposible y seguiremos demostrándole al mundo el ejemplo del Salvador. Que Dios los bendiga a todos y muchas gracias.
Is one of the major gangs,
and they are satanic also.
That was my question. So very
I'm
little.
sorry.
No. But I would hope you will explain it, because very little has been written in the West about this.
They're satanic, yes.
But actually, literally, can you explain?
Well, they didn't start as a satanic organization. They MS-13 started in Los Angeles in the U.S. because Salvadorans weren't allowed to sell drugs by the Mexican gangs. So they created a gang that was called the 18th Street Gang, because they basically wanted to sell drugs in a street that was 18th Street over there. But then division started they started dividing themselves and started infighting. So they created the MS-13. And
yeah, I agree.
then MS-13
I used to work their shift.
outgrowing.
I worked their shift
the
for
other gangs.
years. Oh my God.
And they started exporting the organization to other parts of the U.S.
The 3 years I worked in the
And
hospital, it was
when
their
Bill
shift.
Clinton decided to deport those guys, he didn't tell our government at the time, I'm deporting this criminal. They just, send them here. And they came, there were few,
nurses,
but
like,
unchecked. At the
I had a
same
lot of
time,
nurses
some laws were passed to protect
fucked up
minors
nurses.
from
And I had really
prison.
cool nurses, but I had some really.
And of course, the gangs
nurses.
use that to recruit 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. So at the beginning was, some youth causing harm, assaulting, trying to control their territory, selling drugs, things that are bad, but probably not critical. But they grew, and they started controlling territories. A few years later, they were actually a huge international criminal organization that they have bases in Italy, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, the U.S. Basically, a lot of major cities in the U.S. will have strongholds of.
Right outside Washington, D.C.
Yes, of course. And you have in Long Island and
Yes.
in L.A. It's a huge criminal international organization. So they grew and they started,
in our country.
killing more people just to get territory or to fight against rival gangs or to collect debts or money or whatever. But as the organization grew, they became satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it's well documented.
Yes.
Because I was a bodyguard.
In our arrest, we even found altars and things like that.
Yes, I've seen bodyguarding
and so they became a satanic organization. And even when you
I had my job
sometimes
that I
when you interview gang members that are in prison, they would say, "I'm out of the gang." Of course, they're in prison. They would
When I
say,
was
I'm
young.
not a member of the gang anymore. And when they asked them why,
Once
I
upon
remember
a time,
one
especially.
I remember the news outlet that made it but it's a very
It was
well-known
good.
news outlet that made this interview with a gang member in person. We allowed them to go into prisons and do the interviews. And the guy that they asked him, how many people have you killed? And he said, I don't remember. He didn't remember how many. Probably 10, 20. He didn't remember. And then they asked him, and what is your position in the gang? He explained how he went up in positions, but I left the gang. I said, why did you left the gang? And he said, well, because I was used to kill people, but
Yeah,
I
Black Friday
killed
was
for
crazy.
territory. I killed
Now,
for
back in
collect,
those days when Black
money.
Friday,
I
I
killed for
worked at
extortion.
Toys R Us. Remember
But I
Toys R
came
Us?
to to this
I worked there.
house,
I worked
and they were about to kill a baby.
third shift
And
at
he
Toys R
killed
Us,
her. They killed tens of people.
restocking
Said, "Oh,
the
what are we
shelves
doing?
and
Why are we going to
fixing
kill
up
that
the
baby?"
place because these kids,
And
man,
they
they
told him
fucking
because
go
the
in there and
beast
they're like little
asked for a baby,
tornadoes,
so
and
we
they
have to
fuck
give
up
him
the
the
whole
baby.
store.
So he said that he couldn't
us on
resist
third
that,
shift,
so he
we
left
go
the
in there
gang.
and we
He's in
restock
prison
and
because
fix
he's
it
a
up.
killer, but he left the gang
For the
because
next
he
day.
couldn't
And every
tolerate
day it's like
what he was
a new
seeing.
tornado.
So human sacrifice was a part.
Well, in the United States a
Another
couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly, I saw the news that they were going to kill a young girl, or they killed a young girl.
Yeah,
I don't exactly
Black
remember
Friday. I remember
because
Black Friday
it was a
Toys
satanic
R Us.
ritual. What happened in the U.S.?
They had a line around the building. That shit was crazy. Thank you for that great upload, Jason A. Yeah, it was Black Friday back in the day was pretty wild. I mean, the amount of people that were waiting outside just to come in. And I remember that year, the Beyblades, they had came out. They were like the really hottest thing coming out was the Beyblades, and also the Pokemon. Damn, those motherfuckers, those kids were going crazy for that shit. I wish I would have gone crazy for the fucking Pokemon when they came out, because I would have been, if I would have collected those cards and bought a lot of it and saved them, man, I would have had a gold mine. You know, those motherfucking cards are like, they're the next money laundering. I guess in the future they're gonna be monitored, because this money is you're exchanging funds for cardboard, picture cardboards, and they put a monetary amount on each little piece, and these cards are going ridiculously expensive. Like, they just raising up in price, and people are just eating them up. And I'm going to get into it, because I feel like I want to, I'm getting in really late in the game, but the Mega Evolutions is the ones I've been looking for. The other ones, the latest ones is the Plasmatic, I think, or something like that. Evolutions is part of the Mega Evolution series. The There's like a whole different types of sets, man. But it's like, for me, it's just I feel like I want to just buy them and just hold them for my niece, and just put them to the side and leave them there for my niece. So when she gets older and stuff, I can just throw it at her and say, "Listen, if you get a good hit, you got good money there." So, because I think they're going to continue holding their value. I've never sent out a card to get graded. I actually would like to send out a card to get graded, and the card I would like to send is a 1991 Troy Aikman rookie card that's signed and numbered, and there's never been a 10, a PSA 10 before on that card, and I think I may have that card to be the number 10, like to get a perfect score. And I'm contemplating on sending it in. I'm afraid to send it, but I'll be shocked if it didn't get a 10, because I've had it in under a case. Like, it's been put away since I got it. Since I got it back in like 91. So we're talking about a long time ago. And yeah, I wish I still had my Jordan rookie. I know, right? I used to collect cards. Well, I used to collect sports cards. I used to collect baseball. I used to go after the flares. And I go, upper deck. I used to get like the sports cards and so forth. And I have gotten a couple of good hits of, I have basketball and football and baseball. And man, I wish I would have got into the Pokemon when it came out. It was a little bit, I was like older already. So I was already getting out of that shit. I wish I would have was an avid collector then, because if I was, man, I could have racked up so much, and I would have had so much money off of those cards. You have no idea. The cases alone, like brand new, sealed case, goes for over almost almost $500,000. You're talking about $300,000, $350,000, probably $500,000. It's ridiculously that's why I feel like it's a money laundering operation for sure. I just read the room. Yeah, I know. Let's see. All right, so we got 2 last shows, and it's a back-to-back, and you know who it is. It's there may be an add-on at the end. I'm not sure, but we're gonna go ahead and watch Tyson De La Cruz. So here we go. I even got the ambulance or the police.
Over $800 million in homelessness funds each year. So what happened? Where did the money go?
America, we just uncovered one of the most sophisticated homeless fraud schemes in California history. And it involves the Weingart Center, a nonprofit that's receiving over $100 million in taxpayer funds despite failing to comply
I have
with
a
federal
Jordan
audit requirements for
Wheaties
years.
box.
2 top officials, including CEO Kevin Murray, have been placed on administrative leave, while federal investigators probe a $27 million real estate scam where they bought a property for double its actual value using taxpayer money meant to help homeless people. But here's what's absolutely disgusting. While homeless people are dying on the streets in Los Angeles, these nonprofit executives were running elaborate property flips and pocketing millions of dollars in development
I have a
fees while the
Jordan's
organization
Wheaties
couldn't
box.
file basic financial audits.
I have it stored from
California
90.
Governor Gavin Newsom says new data shows homelessness is down significantly in California.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This case exposes how the homeless industrial complex has become a money laundering operation where connected politicians and nonprofit executives get rich while the problem they claim to solve gets worse and worse. Let me break down the systematic fraud at the Vanguard Center, one of Los Angeles's most prominent homeless service providers. According to federal records, this nonprofit received over, get this, $100 million in taxpayer funds, despite being in material non-compliance with federal audit requirements for years. Think about this, guys. They haven't filed an audit that was due 9 months ago, but they're still receiving over $100 million in taxpayer funds. When audits finally come back, sometimes a year and a half overdue, they found some very serious problems with how Vanguard Center tracks taxpayer funds.
They have been out of compliance continuously since early 2022.
The audits revealed that Vanguard Center lacks enough experience and size in its accounting team to properly track taxpayer dollars. That is crazy. And they failed to include tens of millions of dollars in federal funding on their balance sheets. This isn't just poor bookkeeping, you guys. This is systematic financial mismanagement of public funds. At the
Big
center
time
of this
mismanagement.
scandal is Kevin Murray, a former state senator who became CEO of Vanguard Centers and turned this nonprofit into his personal money machine. Murray was making $480,000 per year running a quote-unquote nonprofit that can't even file basic audits but receives over $100 million in taxpayer funding.
A lot of concern as after we've run this story, and a lot of questions about how this is happening and why there does not appear to be more stringent oversight from the government agencies.
Here's the perfect scam. Why would you ever want to end homelessness when you're making $500,000 running a homeless nonprofit? Why would you put yourself out of business when
The
tens
box,
of millions of
the
dollars
one
are
I
flowing
have,
in
I
from
believe is
government and virtually no oversight?
94.
Well, the new CEO of LASA, who
I believe
started in
it's
August, told us she
1994.
was disappointed after we contacted her. She was disappointed to learn that LASA had not
it's on
caught
the-
this issue.
But this
I have
is
to show
one
it.
of many challenges that auditors have ran into
let me
with
go get it.
LASA's oversight.
I'll
This
show it to you.
just shows that the entire system is designed to
I'll
avoid
send a picture
accountability.
in-
Now let's
in,
dive into the
Discord.
specific real estate scam that has federal investigators circling around. Vanguard Center was involved in a property deal where they paid $27.3 million for a building that was purchased for just $11.2 million, meaning taxpayers paid more than double the actual value.
This is a property flip in West LA in the neighborhood of Cheviot Hills that was highlighted in a federal prosecutor criminal indictment announcement actually in October. And essentially what happened was there was this investor, Stephen Taylor, who purchased a property. It was a senior home, multi-unit senior home, about 76 units in West LA, purchased it for $11 million. But while he was at the same time selling it to Weingart Center for $27 million, financed by taxpayers. And so there's a apparent $16 million gap.
We actually covered the indictments of the real estate developers involved in this scheme in detail. Make sure to check out that video after this one for the full breakdown of how this criminal network operated. The appraised value used to justify the $27 million price had inaccurate information about property ownership and didn't mention the pending sale for $11 million. They were justifying the value of $27 million while hiding the fact that that same property had just been purchased for less than half that amount. And here's where it gets really explosive. Mayor Karen Bass's office had a big role in the city's processing that recommended this fraudulent property deal. According to emails from top city housing officials, Bass personally pushed for this $27 million taxpayer ripoff.
Mayor Bass's office, there were some emails from the city indicating that her office was had a big role in the selection of this property.
So Karen Bass's office specifically recommended a property deal where taxpayers would pay more than double the market value, and they required the whole thing to be kept a secret through confidential agreements. That is not incompetence, you guys. That is organized corruption at the highest level of city government.
The agreement for taxpayer funds to finance the $27 million purchase of this property committed that the buyer, Weingart Center, would never reveal the name of the seller of the property to the public or to the news media.
Why would you want to keep that a secret unless you knew that it was a scam from day one? The Vanguard Center scandal is just one piece of a much larger homeless fraud operation happening across California. We're seeing systematic theft of taxpayer money through inflated property deals, fake service providers, and nonprofit executives who keep getting rich while homelessness just gets worse. Federal prosecutors are now investigating where almost $26 million in taxpayer money went that was supposed to build new housing for the homeless. Instead of creating housing, these funds were diverted to private jets, VIP tickets to Coachella, and luxury purchases by connected executives.
This shuttered, dilapidated motel in Thousand Oaks was supposed to be transformed into permanent housing for the homeless. It was part of Governor Newsom's signature program called Project Home Key, turning old motels across the state into supportive housing for the homeless. But this project, like many others, was never completed.
But the projects were never completed while the money disappeared into private accounts. Let me briefly touch on the real estate developer arrests that were connected to this broader scheme. Federal agents arrested multiple developers who were using fake documents and inflated appraisals to steal millions in homeless housing funds.
Agents arrested Cody Holmes, a 31-year-old Beverly Hills resident and the former CFO of Shangri-La industries. Our investigation has showed that at least $2.2 million was diverted to pay Mr. Holmes's American Express bill.
Stolen, the feds say, by Holmes to fund a lavish lifestyle. He spent $53,000 for VIP tickets on Coachella, 43 grand for private jet flights, and $111,000 on designer handbags. Again, if you want full details on how these real estate developers operated their criminal network, make sure to watch our complete breakdown of this video after this one. The level of fraud and luxury purchases they made with stolen homeless funds will absolutely blow your mind. While California homeless nonprofits are still in millions through property scams, the state is now facing cuts to SNAP benefits because they refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement and provide required recipient data.
Millions of Americans could lose access to food assistance as the Trump administration targets Democratic-led states. The controversial new move after requests for names and immigration status of recipients are being denied.
Of course, California is one of 22 states that sued the Trump administration rather than provide information about SNAP recipients. Now they're facing a loss of federal funding that feeds over 5 million Californians because they prioritize protecting illegal immigrants over feeding American citizens.
Secretary Rollins claims the data from the Republican-led states resulted in weeding out fraud.
When we found 186,000 dead people's social security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states.
This is the kind of systematic fraud that California is protecting by refusing to provide recipient data. America, the Vanguard Center scandal exposes the homeless industrial complex for what it really is, a money laundering operation where connected politicians and nonprofit executives get rich while the problem they claim to solve gets worse. When a nonprofit can receive over $100 million in taxpayer funds without filing basic audits, when they can pay double market value for properties through secret deals, when their CEOs make $480,000 a year while homeless people die on the streets, the system is completely broken. Kevin Murray's transformation from state senator to nonprofit CEO making $500,000 shows how the political class has monetized human suffering. Why would he want to end homelessness when it's making him rich? Why would Karen Bass want to stop property scams when her office is directly involved in recommending the fraudulent deals? The $27 million property scam where taxpayers pay double the actual value shows how these networks operate. Inflated appraisals, secret agreements, and confidentiality clauses to hide the theft from public scrutiny. The fact that Mayor Bass's office had a big role in selecting this property proves the corruption goes to the very top of the city government. The broader pattern across California, from abandoned motel projects to luxury spending by developers to systematic SNAP fraud, shows this isn't isolated corruption. This is organized theft of taxpayer money on an industrial scale while the problems get worse and more people suffer. The SNAP benefit cuts facing California shows the consequences of prioritizing illegal immigration over American citizens.
Okay, I'm back.
While the state protects fraud in federal programs, millions of Californians who need legitimate food assistance may have lost benefits.
I took a picture, I put it on the Discord.
Cooperate with federal law. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Cool. You know, the mayor's a piece of shit of LA, but I did get the Wheaties box. I put the picture on Discord and the picture of the football card that I have, Troy Aikman rookie card. Let me see if I can put it on here. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec so I can open up Discord so I can show it here. I haven't opened up Discord in a while, so they always do all these crazy uploads. always updates. They always do updates. Discord is like super slow to open, but I do have it on Discord. So I'm gonna open up those pictures for us to watch and see, and you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I bought the box of cereal for $1.99. And I got a story about that box. I bought that box in New Jersey. It was at a bodega in New Jersey. We had taken a break off the bus because we were taking the bus to go up to Connecticut to visit family. And we had to stop at New Jersey. So we stopped in New Jersey. I went to a bodega. I was just looking around and stuff. And I was an avid collector at that time. I was a little kid, but I still knew, I was like, I knew what was up. And when I saw the Jordan box, I was like, wow, that's really could be worth something in the future. So I ended up grabbing it, and it was the only box that was up there too. I got it and I purchased it, and I've had it ever since then. But the box is from 1990. Give me one sec. Let's open this up. Okay, I saw this stuff opening. Give me one sec. See if I could open in a browser. And then okay. Come back over here. Go ahead and back to the Jordan box. Let's open this one in the browser. Great. That works for me. So let me show you guys. First one I'll show you is the Jordan box. So that's the Jordan box. My Wheaties box from 1990. And I paid $1.99 for it. $1.99. And then the other card, this card here, no one has it in a 10. There's the Troy Aikman rookie from Classic. And I looked it up. There's several people that have it in a 8 and a 9, but there's not a 10 on this card. And as you can see, this card, it's sealed. I have it in a case. You see the screws here? It's been encased since 1991. It has not have gotten any oxygen since 1991. This is in a tomb. And it's been in this position, in this state for, like I said, since 1991. And he's still alive. He's still kicking. He's still going good. But this card, there's no... Okay. That is like so cool to see. That's right, man. And it's signed. Very crispy card. You know, you can see the corners are perfect. The plastic, you see all these marks and stuff, that's from the plastic. That's from the case that it's encased in. That's the protector. You see all this little microfiber stuff, that's from the case. The case is where you see this scratch right here. That's the case. That's why I put it in this. Look at the big ass screw. This is in a tomb. This is like well protected, this card. And I put it since when I was young, I knew this card was going to be valuable. And this is rookie card, his Troy Aikman rookie card. He won 2 Super Bowls, I believe, with the Dallas Cowboys. And you see the corner, how perfect. I'm afraid to submit it to PSA to get it graded. I am so scared to get it graded. Because I know if it comes back a 10, that would be great, because it would be very valuable. But it'll be the only 10 out of how many? I think it's 1,000. Yeah, I think it's out of 1,000. This will probably be the only 10. And I got 464. So this is the 464 card out of 1,000. And it's pretty cool. You see, look. 464. And he wrote that. Troy Aikman wrote that. So that's pretty cool. It was something that I could pass along to my niece. I'll hope down the line, because it's not it's probably not it's valuable, but it's like I'm scared to get it submitted, because if I get it submitted, I get a 10, then it's very valuable. And I want to do it, but I'm scared to do it. It's just because I don't want my car to get lost or have an excuse or some bullshit. You know what I mean? Because that would be so devastating. It's like very risky doing those things, like submitting them to get like graded and to come back with a slab. And then it's very suspenseful, because you're wondering and hoping that you could get a high grade, like a 10, which is like perfect. And it'll be devastating to come back and they give you like a 9 or 9.5. I think that would be like so heartbreaking. Especially that I have this card encased like a mummy, that's like but let's go ahead and continue on with the last show of the night. And who's that reserved for? It's probably not the last show. Let me see what he has up, because I know he should be uploading soon. Let me take a quick peek to see. Let's see here. Give me one sec. There he is. Video. Let's see. Yeah, this should be the last video of the night, unless they get a 10:15. We'll see. Let's go ahead and set this up, and let's watch Tyson Del Cruz.
Homeland Security has begun a major immigration crackdown in New Orleans. Officials tell CNN they are hoping to make 5,000 arrests.
America, the Trump
All
administration.
right, 50 and 200. Yeah, that seems about right.
Not to be confused with that delicious cereal at the supermarket. And the scenes we're
I'll
witnessing
pay $2 for it.
exposes the absolute insanity of Democrat sanctuary city policies. Federal agents.
When he
are targeting
dies,
the
it's gonna
worst
go
of the
up,
worst.
you know what
We're
I
talking
mean?
about criminals, child PDFs, apists, gang members.
I wish I
people
could
who
get
are
it
released
autographed
back
by
into
him.
New Orleans streets instead of being turned over to ICE. But here's
And
what's
have it,
really
like,
wild. Instead of
certified.
celebrating that dangerous criminals are going to be
Like, signed
arrested,
and
local
certified?
activists are handing
Oh,
out
man.
whistles again
That'd
to
be
warn
awesome.
these criminals when ICE is coming. And get this, CNN was literally interviewing a jogger who was hyperventilating because he saw police officers in the distance and didn't have his immigration papers while exercising.
Yeah. 35 years old.
Seeing is what appears to be racial profiling of brown people and then going after these individuals and treating them like they are these significantly violent offenders.
Do you speak Spanish? What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story perfectly shows how Democrats have created a system that protects criminals over citizens. And now they're panicking because Trump is actually enforcing our immigration law. Let me break down exactly who Operation Catalua Crunch is targeting, because this isn't some random immigration sweep. This is going to go after the most dangerous criminals that New Orleans sanctuary policies have been protecting.
Catalua Crunch, which we are launching today down in New Orleans, we're first and foremost really focusing on those worst of the worst criminals, those criminals who have previously been locked up by local authorities. But then because New Orleans functions as a sanctuary city, those individuals were not released to ICE. They were instead released back onto New Orleans streets.
We're talking about child PDFs, burglars, gang members, and apists who were arrested by local authorities, but then released back into the streets instead of being turned over to ICE. This is exactly what sanctuary city policies do. They protect the most dangerous criminals in our society. Home invasion, armed robbery, grand theft auto, rape. These aren't just people who overstayed their visas or crossed the border looking for work. These are violent criminals who have already been victimizing American citizens. And New Orleans Democrat leadership chose to release them back into communities instead of letting federal authorities deport them. The operation is expected to result in 5,000 arrests or more, which tells you just how many dangerous criminals have been accumulating on New Orleans streets thanks to these insane sanctuary policies. Now here's where it gets absolutely ridiculous. Instead of celebrating that dangerous criminals are going to be finally arrested, local activists and the lamestream media are running a fear campaign to protect these criminals from being caught.
People like Tucker Mendoza, for instance, are handing out whistles to hospitality workers, the goal to alert others if they see agents or raid happening.
I think that it's an important way for people to link it together by hearing the whistle, blow the whistle. The concept is if you see them, blow the whistle. That's as simple as it is. Let everybody know that they're in your neighborhood, that they're in the vicinity. It's a way of it's a warning sign.
So let me get this straight. They're handing out whistles. This seems to be the pattern to warn people when ICE agents are in the area. This is literally a criminal alert system designed to help people evade federal law enforcement. Tucker Mendoza has already handed out 350 whistles and ordered more. Good for him. The economic disruption is immediate. Construction workers and hospitality employees didn't show up to work on day one because activists have convinced them that ICE is coming for everybody, not just violent criminals. But here's what really gets me fired up. Look at how the media is covering this operation. They're not focusing on the child PDFs or the apists who are being arrested. They're focusing on creating sympathy for people who are helping criminals evade federal law enforcement. Now, let me tell you about the most ridiculous piece of fear-mongering that I've seen yet. CNN actually interviewed a man who was jogging and saw police officers in the distance, and he started hyperventilating because he didn't have his immigration paperwork with him while he was exercising.
He became terrified. Even though he has his immigration papers, he didn't have them on him while he was running. Take a listen, Boris.
Safety, because you know when you go to make exercise, you don't carry your driver's license. You don't carry nothing can prove you a citizen. You know, but because what I can hear in social media and everything, these people is looking at your color.
Boris, he was hyperventilating at one point during our interview. He started shedding tears.
Think about how insane this is. This man is supposed to be a legal citizen, but has been so brainwashed by the media's fear campaigns that he thinks ICE agents are going to arrest him for jogging while brown. This is the level of hysteria that Democrats and their media allies have created. You know what I want to tell this guy? Instead of carrying your papers while jogging, just grab a wig like this. Just grab a wig and some face paint. Trick ICE, right? And that's the trick. If you're worried about being mistaken for somebody else, maybe change your appearance instead of expecting federal agents to ignore people who match the description of wanted criminals.
I need to get a wig
this
now.
CNN segment perfectly shows how the media is promoting fear instead of facts. They're not explaining that this operation is targeting specific criminals with arrest warrants. They're creating panic by suggesting that anybody could be arrested at any time. This is exactly what Democrats want. want. They want legal immigrants and citizens to be terrified so they can use that fear to attack Trump's immigration enforcement. It is absolutely disgusting. The immediate economic impact of this operation shows exactly how Democrats have created a system where entire communities are complicit in harboring criminals.
Some local shops have been closing up for the day, too. Some with signs that say no ICE access in this business.
Think about what this means. These businesses are openly declaring that they won't cooperate with federal law enforcement trying to arrest child predators and criminals.
The concern is coming not just from people who are undocumented, but it's also coming from those who have citizenship status, who are permanent residents, who have work visas, and in most cases, they're not working at all. So they're communicating with their employers and letting them know, hey, I don't feel safe traveling to and from work.
This is the absolute chaos that sanctuary city policies create. When you protect criminals, everyone becomes afraid because no one knows who's actually dangerous. But here's what they're not telling you: if you are here legally and you are not a violent criminal, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. This operation is specifically targeting people who have already been arrested for serious crimes and violators of re-entry. The fear is manufactured by activists and the lamestream media who want to protect their sanctuary system. Let's talk about this whistle system, because this perfectly shows how Democrats have turned law-abiding communities into criminal protection networks.
And nonprofits tell me they're even getting whistle kits from activists in Chicago. Now, it's a quick way to let people know if ICE is in the area or detaining anyone.
So activists in Chicago are shipping whistle kits to New Orleans to help people evade federal law enforcement. This is a coordinated effort across multiple sanctuary cities to obstruct justice and protect criminals from being arrested. Think about what this means. Instead of helping ICE arrest child PDFs, criminals, these activists want to create early warning signs to help criminals escape. This is literally aiding and abetting federal fugitives. And the media is covering it like it's some kind of community organizing effort instead of what it actually is: criminal conspiracy to obstruct federal law enforcement. The fact that they're calling these whistle kits shows how organized this obstruction effort actually is. They're not just handing out random whistles. They're distributing coordinated alert systems designed to interfere with federal operations. Let me put the scope of this problem in perspective, because the numbers here are absolutely staggering.
We're talking about hundreds of murders, hundreds of sexual predators, drug traffickers, the worst of the worst,
who are released back into New Orleans streets instead of being turned over to ICE for deportation. The operation is targeting 5,000 arrests, which means there are at least 5,000 dangerous criminals currently walking the streets of New Orleans because of sanctuary city policies. It's not a small number. That is an army of violent criminals that Democrat policies have been protecting. And remember, these aren't people that just crossed the border. These are people who are already been arrested by local police for serious crimes, but then released instead of being deported. Every single one of these arrests represents a failure of sanctuary city policies. This follows similar operations like the one we saw in Charlotte, North Carolina, showing that the Trump administration is systematically going after sanctuary cities that have been harboring criminals. The message is clear: if local government won't protect their citizens from dangerous criminals, the federal government will. The deployment of 250 Border Patrol agents in the area, plus National Guard support, shows this isn't just a routine immigration operation. This is a major federal intervention to clean up the mess that Democrat sanctuary policies have created. America, this story perfectly illustrates the choice we face as a country. Do we protect law-abiding citizens from dangerous criminals, or do we protect dangerous criminals from law enforcement? Democrats have chosen to protect child PDFs, rapists, gang members through their sanctuary policies. They have created a system where violent criminals are released back onto American streets instead of being deported. And when Trump finally starts enforcing our laws and arresting these criminals, Democrats respond by creating whistle kit networks to help them escape, closing businesses to obstruct federal agents, and running media campaigns to generate sympathy for people who are harboring fugitives. The CNN jogger story shows how desperate they are to create victims where it doesn't even exist. Instead of celebrating that criminals are being arrested, they're interviewing people who are hyperventilating because they saw police officers while exercising. This is what America First looks like, prioritizing the safety of American citizens over the comfort of violent criminals. Operation Chattahoochee Crunch is just the beginning. Trump promised the largest deportation operation in American history, and he's delivering on that promise. The choice is simple: support law enforcement efforts to arrest dangerous criminals, or support activist networks to help those criminals evade justice. I know which side I'm on. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
You know where I stand in that. We gotta go back. Gotta go back. The same way you came is the same way you go back. At least this time they're sending you by plane, and they're giving you $1,000 to get the fuck out. That's crazy, right? You come here for a few years, have a whole fucking time of your life, paid for vacation, food, you're fed every day. You go different places and spend your time all around this country, and now they're sending you back, and they're giving you $1,000. What a fucking vacation! I'm telling you, all paid by the American people. What a hell of a deal. What a fucked up deal the fucking Americans got. That's why Trump is like, yo, send at least $2,000 to every American, man. Because the way you guys fucked them over with this bullshit with the immigration, they deserve $2,000 back, at least in their bank account. Hey, it's only fair. What the fuck? You know, they give all the money to the fucking illegals and we don't get nothing. Like, even the train of truth is here. All right, guys. I think, let's see. Hit the road, Jack. Yeah, for sure. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. I don't know if this let me see if Tyson uploaded anything else. Lately, he's been off on the timing on his shows. I got to talk to him about that. Yeah, that was the last one. His uploads has been coming on later and later at night. I gotta talk to him about that. Like, listen, man. Let me see if there's anything else. No, there's nothing. Everything seems pretty. Let me see if there's anything breaking. So Gunther wins finals. Solo Sikoa wants everything. Wyatt. So Gunther's gonna face John Cena, which I think my plan would be so much better, man. Like, okay, Gunther's gonna face John Cena, but like, I would love Gunther to be attacked, you know, by a special like the hooded guy, and just like attack the hell out of Gunther to the point that he cannot wrestle, that he's injured and he cannot go to the ring, and then the next thing you know, there's like suspense. Who's gonna come out and wrestle? Who's the one that's coming out, you know, to face John Cena in his final match? And the next thing you know, the Titantron comes out with the countdown, like the old school Jericho, and then pops out, you know, Chris Jericho. That would be one hell of a fucking like match, like good send off, positive. Oh my god, that would bring the ratings for sure for that Saturday night main event. But I'm not a writer or producer of WWE. I wish I would have been. I live in Connecticut, but I don't want to drive all the way over there to Stamford. That's fucking, it's like a good little 45 minute drive. Fuck that shit. But I would have pitched for the Jericho to, you know, do that sneak attack or, you know, have Gunther get run over by a car or something, you know? One of those, like, he can't compete. He got run over by a car, or, you know, like one of those Rikishi, you know, moments, you know, take him out by a car and then have a mystery opponent, and then that's when Jericho comes out. And that would be a great send off, a great send off for John Cena. Anyhow, let's see. That's all we have for tonight. I mean, I'm gonna chill, probably relax. Nah, he's gone from AEW. He's not contracted by them. He's already done with his contract. He bought himself out of his contract. He's not contracted by AEW. If he wanted to show up in WWE tomorrow, he could show up tomorrow. But they're saving him because I think they want to bring him in for the Royal Rumble. They would love to bring him in for the Royal Rumble, but I think instead of the Royal Rumble, he should be John Cena's last opponent. You know, that would be such a because Gunther, come on, like Gunther Cena, like last match, like to me, that's not like impactful. That's not like, I already seen that match before. It's like I don't care for it. I'd rather see fucking Jericho come out. Shit. I don't, who could fight Cena, as a good send off. Like shit. I don't even care. Bring out Ric Flair. Let him just throw himself around. Like Ric Flair, it's like, yeah, he's styling and profiling. It's definitely gonna be probably Austin Theory, but I hope that they make it seem that it's Jericho or something. Jericho cannot climb a ladder that fast and come down that quick. The only person that could do something like that and with the maneuver, because that person was very athletic, and Chris Jericho is not that athletic like that. So, especially like for the curve stomp, definitely Austin Theory is really giving me Austin Theory vibes. But yeah, it has to be Austin Theory. He's already back from injury. I know his injury's already been up, and they're trying to put him back in, and then they're gonna put him in the Vision because he wants, like, I guess Heyman wants to take him on the wing and bring up Austin Theory. I mean, it'd be a good little faction. I mean, the Vision, and then they'll have a good storyline when Seth Rollins comes back, and they treat him like a little outsider, and then he's gonna have to go against his own people of the Vision. It'll be a great to watch. Yeah. Now, who you think it is? Who you believe it is? Because I'd say one thing, that one person would have to be very athletic in the way they jump that fence. Not everyone can jump the fence like that and come down and then climb up the way they did. The only other person that I think that it could be is, nah, I don't even think so. Because he's too stocky. Trick Williams? Nah. Trick Williams is tall though. This guy wasn't that he was like tall, but not like tall. And this guy was like more stocky up in the back. Like his backside, you could tell like his back, like he works out on his back. And Trick Williams, nah, I don't think it's him. Not to attack CM Punk. Yeah, but I don't think it's Trick Williams. Trick Williams cannot jump that fence like that. He cannot jump that fence like that. No way he could jump the cage like that. Because, like, if you look at frame by frame, when he's climbing up to leave out, he jumps up with 2 feet up. Okay, some people will go one leg at a time. No, this one jumped like 2 feet high up over the fence and went over. So this person is very athletic. And there's only a few people that I know that are really athletic like that, and Austin Theory is one of them. It's not Gable. You know, is it Gable? Like, no, I don't think it's Gable. Because I believe Gable's still injured. And it has to be someone who's under contract. So a lot of people are speculating. They're like, oh, it could be Dean Ambrose. I was like, no, Dean Ambrose. That man's still under contract. It would have been cool if it was Dean Ambrose. That would have been fucking awesome. But it's not. Let me see. There's anything breaking? Any breaking news? Besides Gunther winning. He wins to reach the final to face John Cena. Okay. No, nothing. Everything's good. So I guess I'm gonna wrap it up and get ready for bed. It's been a long day, and tomorrow I got a lot of things to get done. And it's Saturday, so enjoy the weekend. I'm not sure if I'm gonna come on Saturday or Sunday, because last weekend I was really out of it. This weekend I'm not sure if I come on. I just don't know what time. So hopefully you have your notifications turned on, and when I come on, you guys will be notified. Hopefully, but I gotta work all weekend. Oh, I mean that's okay. I mean it'll keep you distracted. Um, Definitely. Oh, check out those Pokemons for me, and if you could get those pictures for me, because I would like to see which ones that you guys have at Walgreens. Because I checked today at Walgreens and they didn't have shit. I was like, oh man, they didn't have nothing. It was like empty. They had one like Magic the Gathering. I was like, only one, and I was like, nah, I'm good. So I just like, but it's like it's hard. They don't send that much this way, you know. I mean, I try to look out for them. It's like trying to catch them. It's like really difficult unless I go to like GameStop, and yeah, they'll have them, but overpriced. Motherfuckers are expensive over at GameStop. Like it's like I don't know. It's just a ripoff. But anyhow, I'm gonna go to bed. My store has a whole shit load. Last I saw, yeah. Well, let me know. I'll keep you posted about Kayla too. Yeah, I should do good. I mean, she got to rest up tonight, and hopefully they'll give her the oxygen and the treatment she needs to get better. I don't know what hospital you guys go to, but damn, that nurse, she must have been not feeling well today. I don't know. I had my fair share of bad nurses, so I know it's not good. But hopefully the next nurse will be much better, and I hope everyone have a great weekend, and see you hopefully tomorrow. If I'm available and I'm not doing anything, then I'll probably jump on and for a few hours and check out some news or check out something. I really want to take it easy this weekend, and you guys should too. All right, so have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night, and I'll catch you on the flip side, and we'll do this again. Hopefully, let's see tomorrow. I don't know. Let's see how I feel, and you guys have a great one. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.